In the 1980s, New York City was ravaged by homelessness. Mayor Koch was looking for a solution to the problem. He turned to Bill Grinker, who was precisely the right person with the right set of skills and intellect for the times.
Basically what he did was to figure out how to repurpose the funding from the federal government that was being used to pay for the hotels into paying for shelters that had a lot of enriched services, and it was very effective, and it's the method that's still used today.
Bill is a fearless leader. He knows what he knows and is committed to certain principles. And in the inner circle of city government, he was someone you didn't mess with because he knew what he was talking about.
Bill Grinker is an innovator. He's a social entrepreneur. He has not just conceived of the next best thing, he's been able to stand it up, implement, and launch it.
In every interaction that I've had with Bill, the one thing that has consistently shown through is his commitment to social justice. Lots of people talk about social justice, but very few people really live it.
We all remember where we were when Neil Armstrong first set foot on the moon. We remember where we were when the towers fell. We remember where we were when the first African American was elected president of the United States. And we remember where we were when we met Bill.
Bill and I met in the late 60s when he came to New York. We became engaged in the 1967 and married that same year. Here he was running an organization of $6 billion and 50,000 people and still managing to lead the Little League for our youngest son. I think that's really the measure of the man.
Our chairman, Mark O'Donoghue, has a lot of contacts in the community, but his most important contact is Carol Kellerman, his wife. And it was Carol Kellerman who actually introduced us to Bill Grinker when I was first starting out at Fedcap, struggling to meet people and trying to learn my way around the city. And Carol advised that I might benefit a great deal by meeting with Bill Grinker, and that met with him for lunch one day, and I fell in love.
I walk into this office and there was this guy in shirt sleeves rolled up, somewhat disheveled, with spreadsheets all over the table, mixing one fiscal year with another. And I made my case and he looked and said, well, I can take some money out of here and some money out of there. It was Bill Grinker.
My first encounter with Bill Grinker was more than 40 years ago. I was just starting my first job at the U.S. Department of Labor, and I was young and brash and eager to do a good job, and the phone rang. I picked up the phone, and the voice on the other end, after a pause, growled, "What's your problem?" And I was taken aback, completely shocked, and stammered, what, who is this? Well, that was my first introduction to Bill Grinker.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
John Kennedy was president, and he said, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, and he inspired a lot of people, including me. The first assignment was to go down to Mississippi and interview people to set up a hearing for the Commission on Civil Rights. And here I was, this white kid from suburban Midwest. I didn't know anything was going on, and I went down to Mississippi, and it opened my eyes so wide.
There's a thread to the Grinker work. MDRC, his work at HRA, his work at CECO, his work at the national level, even the international level, all working on trying to find ways to help people rise up out of poverty and to support those in greatest need.
Bill managed to create a place where everyone felt they were doing the most important thing in the country, and we loved it.
Leadership demands a quality of character, an unwavering commitment to getting it right, and the willingness to speak the truth.
I remember getting yelled at by Bill Grinker once. I was working for the mayor, he was the new HRA commissioner. Mayor Koch had an idea, a new idea. It may have come to him sometime in the morning, but it was the idea of the day. And it was my task to communicate that to the HRA commissioner. Bill Grinker, who I barely knew at that point, said to me in very sharp terms, is this the way we're going to make policy in New York City? Whatever's the latest idea is what we have to try. I don't think it's worth the time of day. So I communicated that to Mayor Koch, and the mayor understood. but it was Bill at his best.
Really, he has an uncanny ability to just cut through the noise, get at what matters, and he's not afraid to tell you what matters.
He was always very tough-minded, unsentimental, which some people found disconcerting. I found it refreshing.
Jack Kennedy was killed, assassinated. Our office was a block from the White House. With tears in our eyes as 4 people, putting this strategy together and watching the funeral cortege come by. It was kind of terrible. Lyndon Johnson became president. He launched a war on poverty. Within a year, this little organization of 4 people had 1,000 employees. And we created Head Start, and we created legal services, and it was an amazing, amazing experience for me to be part of that.
There isn't a corner of the city that he hasn't affected.
Bill Grinker's biggest legacy is MDRC and the value of rigorous evaluation.
There's probably no more intimidating son of a bitch than Bill Grinker, and there's no one else who's ever inspired the fierce loyalty and commitment among the people who work for him.
Bill, congratulations on receiving this well-deserved reward. We younger practitioners in the field have always looked up to you as a trailblazer. Thanks, Bill.
He was a role model in many ways to many of us.
Congratulations, Dad. I love you. You've been the primary influence in my life. I'm always asking, what would Bill do in this circumstance?
Dad, congratulations on your award. You're a great dad, you're a great person, and you definitely deserve it.
In his very long career, he has expressed to me many, many times that he's really very optimistic.
You don't give up, you know, you don't give up. You can make a difference. There are going to be setbacks, You keep plugging away. That's been my career. Keep plugging away.